They have all the balls. Soccer, rugby, cricket. This is the International Sports Report with Linz and Pete on TSN 1050 Toronto.
And the advantage is over, so Canada have to make it count now. Getting close! Carpenter! Outstanding. Here's Munro having a go. Has his legs taken out from underneath. There's a try! To Phil McKenzie! And Canada in front. Well, just about out. They'll put it into touch. Canada wins.
Yes, indeed. There was the Rugby World Cup in 2011 October as Canada defeated Tonga. They really did great performances there in the World Cup and very popular tourists. Join us now, Mike Chu, General Manager of Rugby Operations and High Performance, just recently arrived in Victoria, out in BC. Mike, welcome to the International Sports Report on TSN.
Thanks very much. Nice to be here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, big position. I mean, you were heavily involved in New Zealand rugby with the New Zealand Rugby Union, and you've taken up this new position. Tell us, why the move?
Oh, that's right. I was with New Zealand Rugby and the high performance team there for 9 years, and prior to that, I was teaching at university in sport coaching and sports psychology, but also teaching on a top rugby course for 10 years. So been involved with rugby in New Zealand for almost 20 years, and this role came up, and I thought, well, it's a fantastic opportunity for myself and the family to go to another country, and I think try and make a difference in another country in rugby. And I had been in Victoria before, actually. 12 years ago, I lived in Victoria for a year when I went to UVic as doing a little bit of postgraduate study and teaching at UVic. So great to go back to Victoria. It's a beautiful place, beautiful part of the world.
Big challenge for you. I'm pretty sure Rugby Canada are very pleased to have you. What's your vision for your position, and how you're going to bring on Rugby Canada or rugby in Canada coast to coast?
Yeah, right. It is a big challenge ahead, but I think we've got some leadership with CEO Graham Brown and our board that already have shown a lot of vision. I don't know if the listeners know, but Rugby Canada has set up a centralised academy in Langford, just out of Victoria, in conjunction with the City of Langford. It's the Canadian Rugby Centre of Excellence. We've got a new facility out there, some state-of-the-art gym, state-of-the-art admin block. So that's something that Canada's never had, a centralised training facility.
Can you tell Graham Brown to stop ringing you?
I wonder if that's my wake-up call. It's a little bit late, really.
It is, isn't it? Might be your wife.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, Mike. I just want to jump in here because I'm a guy who's a little slow on, let's say, not the sharpest knife in the drawer, as it's been approached to me several times. But sports psychology, I mean, how deep is sports psychology?
Well, I've got a bit of a sports psych background, and I think it's an area that I know if it's embraced, our athletes can grow a lot from. The All Blacks have, for the last 8 years, had a full-time sports psychologist working with them.
Now, do they work on individuals on a performance level, or is it collectively as a team level?
Both. So, and also working with the management in terms of how they manage themselves. So, for example, not putting their stresses and pressures on the players, and working together well as a management team. I mean, when you're under pressure and looking for the edge in performance, sometimes that can boil over into interpersonal conflict, etc. So, having a good person is part of the puzzle, not the answer, but part of the puzzle. And often it's more about the therapist than the therapy, to be fair.
Yeah, I tell you, it's changed over the years. I know when I was playing rugby in New Zealand, Pat Long was the physio, and he was the psyche. He would get you, he would hurt you, but he would get you going to perform on the field. But it's great to see you. Now let's talk about Canada at the World Cup. The Canadian men's team did extremely well. Very popular tourists. I was down there covering the World Cup for the semi-finals, and I tell you, everyone I spoke to just loved the Canadians.
That's right. You hit it on the head. I think New Zealanders love their rugby. And they know their rugby. And what they saw in the Canadians was a team that really played to their potential. They squeezed everything out of what they had. And I think there's a lot of respect for the way the Canadians conducted themselves on and off the field. Very professional, even though they really are a team, or we really are a team of amateurs in the main. Most of our players either are students or hold down jobs. They're not like the majority of the opposition who are full-time rugby professionals. And that's something that we've got to, I think, look to change in the future. It will be very hard to compete when every team above Canada in the rankings, they are all full of full-time professionals, whereas Canada probably has around 8 full-time professional rugby players.
We're talking to Mike Chu, General Manager of Rugby Operations High Performance of Rugby Canada. Mike, in your position, what would you like if you looked into the glass bottle and said, I'd like to see this develop in North America? Where do you think rugby could go in North America? I mean, it's both countries are so huge. I know the demographics from coast to coast is a challenge, but you know, I remember Rupert Murdoch a while back was trying to get a league going in North America. Do you think it has to be changed? Do we need a Super 12?
Yeah, look, I think so. I think that is the future. It's if rugby is to really grow, I think, and I think it will come. Not next year, maybe not the year after, but eventually it will come where we have a North American professional league, perhaps with the likes of Argentina, USA, Canada, a number of teams from those countries. My vision would be that the league also is not just for North American players, but attracts players from all around the world to play in the league. A little bit like where Super Rugby is going now. So it has only been sort of Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, but now those teams are picking up players from Argentina and from Europe. I think we've got the potential, particularly if rugby can get on television, and can get once you're on television, you get the TV rights and obviously the big sponsors and the funding to allow us to go professional. That's got to be the future. Otherwise, USA and Canada will always struggle to play against the big boys when they're all fully funded and fully professional.
So, Mike, with your position here of the high performance end, will you have the say over coaches at the national level as well as administration?
Yes. So just recently, I have done a review with all the sevens players, looking at the feedback on our coaches, Geraint John and Kieran Crowley. So yes, and look, just talking about the sevens, haven't they done fantastically well, winning core status? So that means that they are one of the core teams on the Sevens circuit now, and get to go to 10 tournaments next year.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Mike, when you take a step back and look at the women's teams that, and you mentioned that, like in this country, they're traditionally amateur, and yes, there's a few players now playing in Europe, but I'll tell you what, the women's, ranked number 4 in the world, the men's sevens are now a core team in the IRB and hoping to get to the Olympics. And also the men's team that's had some good results, and we've got that summer series coming up with Italy and USA in Kingston. So, of course,
right.
BMO here. Yeah,
I've only been here for 3 months, so unfortunately I can't take any credit for any of that success. But
why don't you?
I'd like to. But our women, they're doing fantastically well. They've last year won 4 international sevens tournaments. They were unbeaten last year. They've been well supported by Own the Podium, which has allowed us to centralise 20 women in Langford. And they're off to London and Amsterdam in May. So they're doing exceptionally well, really well coached and really well managed as well.
And how do you bring all the coaches together, Mike, for this vast country? And I mean, because you're going to have to get them on board for the future of this game.
Yeah, that's one of the things that wasn't a surprise, but is going to be one of the challenges for me is the size of the country and the way that we run our competitions, etc. But bring the coaches together. Just give you an example, we brought in all the technical directors from around the country. We brought Mick Byrne, who's, I believe, is the best skill coach in the world, worked with the All Blacks for the last 8 years. We brought him in to upskill our coaches on how to upskill our players. Because I think in Canada, with our players starting the game reasonably late, so a lot of our players pick up the game at, say, age 12, whereas in New Zealand, they start from age 5. So, we've got to catch up on things like skill and decision-making, and that's something that we're going to try and promote through our technical directors across the country, that sort of national skill framework.
Yeah, so you will bring in experts from the powerhouses of rugby in the world.
Absolutely. We've got to do that. But, I mean, the vision's also got to be that Canadian coaches come through the system. But it's difficult for the coaches, just like it is for the players, because we don't have a professional league for them to, commit full-time to being professional coaches.
Well, Mike, thanks for being on the program. I know you're attending the AGM here in Toronto. We'd love to talk to you again, and we wish you all the very best with your wife and family, and hope you enjoy Victoria. Great place to live, and of course with the Langford complex there, it's going to be good for rugby in the future.
That's fantastic, and thanks very much for the opportunity.
Rightio, thanks. Mike Chu, General Manager of Rugby Operations, High Performance Rugby, and pretty good points, eh?
Yeah, you know what?
You were quite impressed, weren't you?
I was totally impressed. I was listening very hard, and we better have some high-performance questions next time we interview him.
No, I don't go that far.
Okay. Stay with us. More on Carlsberg Scoreboard, and then Wayne Eberson, His Honour, the Mayor of Whitechurch, Stouffville, eh? Oh, I tell you.